Hills to
here.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe 26.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
Great.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. We're excited to see you here, and we had a great ride in this morning on the new and improved Orange Line. It was fun to look at all the little improvements along the way, the stations that had been cleaned and brand new paint, new stairs installed, new lighting, as well as sitting in a shiny new train that went pretty smoothly. And so my morning commute in from Roslindale was shortened quite a bit without having to change to the Green Line and come to see that route stretched out, stuck in traffic. And so we had a pretty good ride today, a little over about 25 minutes in from Forest Hills to State Street here. Any questions? Okay. Do you want to try to wait? The Boston Public Health Commission has been immediately on top of this situation. There was one case identified in an adult at one of our schools, and the contact tracing has been done. There's been limited exposure, and everyone who has needed to have resources and vaccinations are being contacted, and that is being made available out of an abundance of caution. Sorry?
Was it a teacher?
This was an employee, a staff member at the school. I want to just be sure that we're not running afoul of any privacy information, so we'll follow up with what details legally can be shared after.
With additional rail cars being added, can we expect extra congestion within and immediately surrounding the Orange Line stations?
With additional rail cars being added, can we expect additional congestion from cars or from people getting on?
Yeah, within the station and immediately surrounding.
Well, we hope that people will start returning back to the Orange Line. It was pretty smooth today, and about let's say a 6-minute wait when we got to the station, and then it was 14 minutes until the next train after that. And so as the speeds are coming back, as the reliability is coming back, there will be a little bit of a transition period, but we're headed in a great direction for the Orange Line and for the system overall. The more people that are actually getting on our trains and leaving behind cars, the less traffic there is on the road for everyone. Even a little bit makes a big, big difference. So with the huge shuttle buses off our roads now, I think we'll start to see an improvement in traffic and congestion even in these next few days. And our hope is that there will be more people getting on the train, seeing that it is an experience you can count on, you can rely on, and starting to see everyone come back in person to our city.
Can you speak to the speed at which the trains are moving? I know some people this morning were saying they were really slow, and I know that was something that was said that was going to be happening for the first week. But some other people said as well that they were making a lot of extra stops along the way between stations. Can you speak to that?
Stops just as delays? Oh, okay. Well, we'll check on that piece of it with the MBTA so we know kind of what the different experiences were at different times of the rush hour. The train that we were on went pretty smoothly. It was about the same timing, or in fact a little bit faster than pre-shutdown for my commute. And we did kind of slow down and crawl over the same slow zones that we're used to, but this is a testing period just to make sure that all the details go right, that the new track fits together with the brand new trains that are in from the manufacturer. And so some of it you just have to see how it goes, and we want to just be totally safe in this first week while things are pieced back together, and then I think starting next week we'll see a big difference.
Did any kinks come up this morning at all that worked out throughout the week?
I did not. Everything went really smoothly this morning. We had free coffee in the morning at Forest Hills. We had pretty full train all the way through, and again, some of the same slow zones just out of caution, but those should be fixed up and going faster by next week. So I was very excited to be back on the train and see so many others along with me. But I'll pass it over to our Chief of Streets, Yasha Franklin Hodge. I know he'll have much more detailed thoughts on how it went.
Thanks, Mayor. Overall, I rode in with the mayor and had that experience on the train. It was a new train. It was a smooth ride. It was still a little bit slow, but as the mayor said, this is really a temporary period to just make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to work. Ultimately, we're just happy to have the train back. The difference that a single-seat ride makes for people if they're coming from the south or from the north, not having to make those transfers onto the Green Line, it's just a world of difference both in time and convenience and just sense of comfort. So really happy to have the Orange Line back. We know that there's going to be, future work that will happen to make sure that the T is building on top of the great repairs that they made, continuing to keep things in a state of good repair, continuing to do signal upgrades in the future. We obviously hope that there is not ever a need for another shutdown of this magnitude. But this is, I think, in many ways a really good down payment on a future rail that is going to be reliable and fast and deliver on what people need here in Boston.
On that this week, is there anything else right away that's going to be happening that the MBTA is going on?
Well, there's certainly going to be some work on the city side to, take some of the temporary stuff that we put in place. We had built a whole shuttle bus terminal here at Government Center and another one at Copley, and so those will be coming out, although some of the infrastructure that we put in place may stay where it can provide a benefit to buses that run on those streets, or where some of the intersection changes we made can have safety benefits for other people on the road. So we're evaluating as a city right now all of those changes, looking at what needs to come out, what should stay. In terms of the T, I mean, really the first order of business now is getting the track settled, making sure that the trains can run on schedule. I think the challenge still remains about service frequency. The dispatcher shortage is still real, and so the trains are still running at a reduced frequency compared to where they were earlier in the year, and we're certainly going to be watching and hoping that the T is able to bring those dispatchers that they need in to get those service frequencies back, especially now that we have this nice new rail for those trains to run on.
When you talk about some infrastructure stuff that might stay, what might be an example of that?
So, there's places, for example, in Copley Square where we put bus lanes in that on stretches of road that also serve a number of high-frequency bus routes, like the number 9 and the number 39. So we're going to look at those and say, does this make sense to leave these markings down? We should have a full list of everything that's staying, everything that's going out a little bit later today. We're kind of putting the finishing touches on it. But ultimately, the last 30 days has shown us what is possible when we reconfigure streets to support transit, when we create bus lanes, when we create dedicated loading areas, when we make sure that the infrastructure is safer for people on bikes. We did a tremendous amount of change in a very short period of time, and we saw the benefit of it in the reliability of the shuttle bus system. We don't want to just have that all disappear. There are, tens of thousands of Bostonians who ride the bus every day still, and we want to make sure that we're bringing the same kinds of benefits that the shuttles saw to those bus commutes as well.
And I'll just add that, this has been a very disruptive period for all of our commuters, and the impact really extends beyond that as well. Every bit of how we want the city to fit together, the affordable housing we're working hard to build, the schools that we are investing in and making sure are world-class everywhere, unless people can easily get around to where they need to go, and it's just a given that you'll be able to get where you need on time and not have to put in so much effort to stress about how that journey goes. That is the foundation that we're aiming for, and it's really important for us. What we don't do now, we'll have to do later in terms of infrastructure repairs. I think we're experiencing that in real time due to investments that weren't made in decades past for the MBTA, and so I'm really encouraged by this new direction. I rode in also alongside a gentleman who was headed into work at Community Servings. It's a nonprofit organization that provides food that then gets delivered for those in need, whether it's individuals who are recovering from an illness or seniors who are homebound or others. And he goes in every day. He had been on the shuttle bus system and needing to change to this and that. So having a smooth ride, he was actually surprised that the trains were back today on his birthday. So I want to wish him a happy birthday, and very, very excited that everyone who's going to work or trying to get somewhere to do good in this city, whether it's make meals that are going to feed the hungry and people who are in need of nourishment, or our educators who are headed off to school, our city workers who are serving the public, making this part of their mornings just a little bit less stressful, a little more convenient, a little more reliable, ripples out throughout every other part of our city. And so happy birthday to John, and thank you for all that you do. Thank you to everyone for bearing with this difficult time. We're glad that the Orange Line's back. We still have some work to do to make sure that it's as smooth and reliable as possible, but we know that this is fundamental to all of the good work that everyone's doing across the city.
Still going on with red line. Are you using a lot of what was learned throughout this whole process to bring that forward into these next steps?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what we saw in the last 30 days is what happens when the city and the transit agency come together and work to make a necessary but unfortunate and challenging disruption work as well as it can. And as we look ahead to future work, while we certainly hope to never have to shut down a line for 30 days, we think that some of the things we've learned, the techniques we've applied, the temporary changes we've made can be applicable when there are shorter shutdowns, when there is a need to do maintenance. So, the relationship between the city and the MBTA at a staff level is strong, and that's what allowed this incredible coordination to happen. And we're going to continue to build on that. If there are future temporary diversions for the Green Line or for the Red Line, we're going to make sure that we're bringing all of our resources to the table to help make that as smooth as it can be for the riders.
Last question.
Just now the horn isn't beeping so loud. Can you just talk about the monkeypox around the
Boston Public Health Commission alerted me over the weekend that a case had been identified in adults at one of our schools. They have been immediately in contact, completed all the contact tracing. There was limited exposure, and out of an abundance of precaution, vaccines have been administered and are distributed to anyone who might have even been a little bit in contact there. And so they have been on top of the situation, and we're staying close, monitoring this closely, but very grateful for the incredible public health infrastructure that we have in the city to be able to identify things so quickly and then spring into action with resources.